Well, Nikki Haley meeting with voters in New Hampshire earlier today as Governor Ron DeSantis heads right back to Florida. DeSantis dropped his bid for the White House yesterday ahead of tomorrow's primary, leaving the former South Carolina governor as the only real challenger to Donald Trump for the Republican nomination.
All right now polls show her trailing in New Hampshire by at least 16 points. Joining us now is Costas Panagopoulos, chair of the Department of Political Science at Northeastern University. Costas, thanks for joining us.
Sure, it's my pleasure to be with you, Steve.
You know, a year ago, Ron DeSantis had all the momentum behind him, but as we go through this process, it just seems like Republicans aren't looking for a substitute to Trump at this point.
Well, I think that's the bet that DeSantis had made, that people were looking for a Donald Trump light, and that just turned out not to be the case. I mean, he put all his eggs in the Iowa basket, spent a lot of time and money up there. It didn't play out the way he wanted it to play out, and I think it just didn't come very naturally for him. Campaigning did not seem to go his way, and in part because I think he failed to make that connection with voters that really would have inspired them to support his candidacy in Iowa and looking ahead to other places had he stayed in as well.
Well, he did endorse Trump. Your thoughts on that? Because I know he did kind of hit back on Trump, especially for some of the Fauci stuff and the COVID things.
Yes, he did. I mean, he was critical of Trump, but I think he acknowledges that Trump is not only the titular leader of the Republican Party right now, but likely to go on and be the nominee and potentially the next president. So I don't think he really wanted to burn more bridges with Donald Trump. And this was one way of reaching out and trying to make peace with Donald Trump and his campaign.
You know, important to note, too, he's suspended. He didn't technically drop out, so he could resume if anything happens, you know, big in the coming.
You know, candidates do that for all sorts of reasons. It enables them to, you know, do things like raise money, et cetera. But I think that, you know, he's out for all intents.
You think he's out? Okay. All right, let's turn our thoughts to Nikki Haley right now. She's behind big in New Hampshire. This is her best bet, and the map doesn't get any better after New Hampshire. What would have to happen in the Granite State to see her move forward?
Yeah, things are going to get pretty tough. You know, this would not be the first time that New Hampshire voters have surprised the nation, right? I mean, it's happened before. It could happen again because it's as much an expectations game as it is anything else in New Hampshire. And if she does better than expectations, I think she'll get a bump moving forward. And, you know, that could be the story of the night. But if she sort of languishes in and around or below the level of the polling she's at right now, I think it will be hard, not impossible, but hard. I think the map gets very hard for her. The immediate following contest is in her own state where she's well behind Trump, and I think it makes it hard. But, you know, for those of us, you know, who live in the Boston media market, it might be freezing outside, but our television sets are surely heating up. We've been getting bombarded with ads from the candidates, and it's getting pretty ugly and pretty intense. I
don't think we've seen the best of it yet. I want to ask you what's going on the Democratic side of things real fast, because one of the latest Harvard-Harris polls showing former President Trump beating Biden with independent candidate RFK Jr. on this hypothetical 2024 ballot. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, Trump is ahead of ahead of Biden in that poll, I believe, even without Kennedy on the ballot. I think once Kennedy is added to that question, you know, he seems to pull equally from Trump and from Biden. He's getting about a fifth of level of support amongst respondents in that poll. So he could make things complicated, but it would be, I think at this point, equally complicated for Trump as it would be for Biden.
Very well. Costas Panagopoulos from Northeastern in Boston. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much.